Previously on Oh Look.
I'm not doing it.
And now, the conclusion.
Fine, I'm doing it. Skyrim.
I hope my attitude doesn't come off like I have something negative against Skyrim. Nah, I just don't look forward to playing it simply because of all the time that this game can take up. Skyrim is massive, people can spend hundreds of hours on this thing, which is definitely a massive appeal to it. But considering I'm someone who bankrupted himself with games, I don't want all that to go to waste because I'm playing Skyrim. So, I'm setting myself a limit. This is the last game I borrowed from a friend. Considering I'm on a quest of establishing pure and utter domination over him, I need to wrap this up. Now, I'm not gonna try to platinum this game, that'd take too much time. Nah, instead I saw that Ivan only has 10 trophies, so I'm gonna play Skyrim until I hit 11 trophies and make my review from that. So, off we go. Skyrim starts with us in a carriage getting exposition until our character customization starts. Some cool choices here, but I decided to go with ED Matrix. My name? Let's stick with George. So after defeating Master of Quack and saving Skyloft, George must have developed some sort of skin disease and killed Groose for groping Zelda or something, because that's the only explanation for why George seems to be getting executed right now. However, our execution is interrupted by a dragon and we use this opportunity to escape. Now so far the beginning section has been played in first person, but once I got a sword and started fighting soldiers I had to switch it to third because first person sword fighting feels as coordinated and graceful as spaghetti in a washing machine. After fighting our way through these caves, I got my first trophy for completing the first chapter of the game. A second trophy immediately followed it up after I activated these guardian stones that were along the path. We arrive at a village and I got a Minecraft impulse to attack a chicken, which must have been sacred or something because cancel culture came after me real quick. I ended up traveling across the realm of Skyrim and into a city of Whiterun where I met with the king and suddenly I'm in the snow entering a dungeon. I feel like at this point I should start throwing out some opinions I have of the game. Let's start with the combat, or if you can even call it that because the fighting in this game is just a bunch of mindless swinging in any direction. I'm not the biggest fan of it, it just looks sloppy and unorganized. It made me appreciate the lock-on target functionality from the Zelda games because that made the fighting feel structured, while here in a setting where a bunch of people are just in a battle swinging for the fences, you don't know who you're hitting. Plus, anytime I'm with allies and we are in combat, I always get scared that my swings are going to accidentally hit them one too many times and they'll just defect. But on the other side of the coin, what makes me enjoy getting into these repetitive bouts is the leveling up and progression going on. Regardless of what you do in battle, you find your skills improving one way or another. Whether you're on the offense, your mindless swinging levels up your sword skills, one-handed or two-handed. But even if you are taking damage in a battle, it still has its perks because your armor gets leveled up, and if you use magic to heal yourself, your restoration goes up as well. You'll find yourself leveling up frequently, and once I hit level 5, I got a trophy for it. Now, as we play Skyrim, there is a lot of junk for you to collect. I legitimately can't stress how much crap the game lets you grab. It gets real busy work, I realized, as I grabbed all the pots, pans, and buckets from a room for the 5th time. There's also loot to be found in the wild, treasures to uncover, and after defeating an enemy, you can strip them of their belongings. And I say stripped accurately. Now, surely you're not gonna need all these things, so what do you do with all the junk you have? You sell it! Just go to any of the towns you visited, find a merchant, and sell anything to them. Whatever you don't sell, you can use as ingredients to create potions, enchantments, and such, but considering I barely did any of that, I just sold everything I came across and managed to build up my gold and was able to buy myself a house in Whiterun, which also got me a trophy. And now we arrive at the dungeons, which is my favorite part about Skyrim. This is where my Zelda fanboy starts to come in. The dungeons of Skyrim are great. Large caverns filled with enemies to fight, passages to explore, loot to collect, booby traps to avoid, puzzles to solve, items to find, and bosses to defeat. There is a real satisfaction to beating a Skyrim dungeon. These can be long caverns to explore that will keep you underground for a while, and when you finally emerge from the depths, it sends your brain's dopamine levels into full throttle. I never had an issue with the puzzle solving, but I can chalk that up to my resume of experience in this field. Plus, George knows what he's doing. Also, beating the story-driven Bleak Falls Barrow dungeon got me a trophy. When I returned to Jarl Balgrove, he sent me on a quest to kill a dragon, and when I managed to do that, not only did I get the trophy for it, but I also absorbed the dragon's soul, which revealed me to be the Dragonborn. So now I'm on a quest to find the Greybeards. It was while I was on my long trek to find the Greybeards that I really started admiring how big of a game Skyrim is. Now, it can be too big, as sometimes these long treks can be a bit tedious, but it's got a vast landscape that are so detailed in their design and filled with NPCs that have so many side quests for you to complete. I didn't really do any of the side quests as I mostly focused on the main quest, but I do admire what they bring to the table. Side note, at some point when I was visiting Whiterun, some cultists were attacking the locals, and considering that I invested in a house here, I wanted to protect my fellow neighbors. Sadly, my fight in the cultists got me in trouble with the local authorities, so I got locked up. I could have just slept off my prison sentence, but I did recently watch the Epstein documentary, and f*** that, I'm out. Which also snagged me another trophy. I located the Greybeards and did some fetch questing and trial completions to show them that I am a worthy hero. The sequence was flooded with dialogue and pointed out a problem I did have with Skyrim, which is the amount of talking these NPCs love to do. I honestly felt this way in the beginning when I was forced to listen to these prisoners talk for 4 minutes. It really made me appreciate Uncharted 4 that started with intense action before settling for story building scenes. Now, I get it, it's world building, but Christ, these NPCs just can't tell me what they want or tell me where to go. They simply just need to tell me their whole life story first. Like I don't give a shit, just tell me where the to go. I guess it just might be a me thing because most people are into the lore of the game. But this Greybeard sequence, it went on for too long. But as I've noticed with this video, anytime I find a complaint, it's joined by a turnaround. So what made the long Greybeard sequence tolerable? The fact that at the end of it, I was met with 2 trophies. As I played the game, I found myself sneaking into a diplomatic party. I wasn't able to bring all my stuff, but only a select few were available to get smuggled in. I realized I came completely unprepared when I started to fight multiple really strong enemies that kept bodying me. This was some of the most intense fighting I had done playing Skyrim, and I was so outclassed I had to resort to some bullshit tactics. I'd enter a room quickly, kill or dish out as much damage as I can to one enemy before I get surrounded by the rest of them, and I'd quickly run back to the door and I wouldn't be followed. I'd use my magic to restore my health and just wait till my magic regenerates before going back out and doing it again. This tactic got me through some of these rooms and even got me up to level 10, which got me my 10th trophy. But the NPCs managed to smarten up because anytime I ran through a door, they just started popping up on the other side waiting for me. My cheesing backfired because when I die, I'd respawn at the door with no health and enemies on top of me and get insta-killed. But through perseverance and using everything I learned thus far, I managed to finally get through this mission, and when I reported back to the lady, I got my 11th trophy. And with that, I'm done. I have more trophies than Ivan, he can go f*** himself. Now don't get me wrong, just because I'm stopping here doesn't mean I didn't enjoy my time with Skyrim. No, I really liked playing Skyrim, and I see the huge appeal this game has, from the fantasy element, the lore, the level progression, the exploration, the huge open world, the economics, the side quests, and the dungeons. It just has so much to it, and I'm not sure if I can give it all the time that it truly deserves. I like Skyrim, I'm just not going to continue playing it. And with that out of the way, I can finally send these back to Ivan.